What it mean to be the best? Riding foes, feeling unimpressed. Make me reminisce, throwing bows, bend the corner, set my mind up on the goal. All I know is stay down, bad, I'm the goal. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. Okay, feel like the best, the great. Now there ain't no debate. Yeah. I ain't gotta say much. Know the boy got a touch. Another win for the rush. Another win for the rush. See me once and got a crush. See you twice and that's enough. Get the ring sized up.
Hello. Welcome in. Tell the Truth, episode 55. How the West was won again. Your Kansas City Chiefs have won their 9th straight AFC West title. Second longest streak in the National Football League history. Extending their lead on the rest of the division for AFC West championships. Another hat and t-shirt game. A muted celebration, which is always very funny because you've seen the progression of those in the Chiefs video that they put out, as far as this team has continued to do this on a consistent basis to the point where it kind of feels routine. But it is that first step that they had to get out of the way on a big victory on Sunday Night Football versus Los Angeles Chargers. So we're going to get into that for real. But first, DG, CJ, how y'all doing today, man?
Doing good, man. Glad to be AFC West champion.
Another one in the books, baby. One check down, you dig?
There's a lot of babies that were born 9 years ago today.
They don't even remember it.
They don't. All they know is AFC West titles.
They don't know the struggle. They don't know.
All they know is Super Bowls and the AFC West titles. They don't know about the Trent Green days.
They don't know
about the Tyler Packo days. They don't know about
Brody Croyle.
They don't know about Tyler Thigpen.
They don't know Thigpen.
They don't.
Y'all remember Gerbach? Y'all don't remember them days.
Y'all remember when we brought Kyle Orton in for 5 games at the end of the year to try to make the playoffs?
Y'all don't remember that fake love we had from Matt Castle. Y'all wasn't outside.
Yeah, I was gonna say y'all don't remember Matt Castle and Brady Quinn throwing to Jonathan Baldwin.
Y'all don't remember Tony Moriarty, how we was hyped off that one catch versus Niners. Y'all don't remember that shit, bro. I was outside. I was at that game.
I don't remember that. They don't remember Dexter McCluster catching passes from the best.
Our number one receiver was Donnie Avery at one point. Y'all wasn't outside, man. We was depending on Anthony Fasano. Our tight end one. Y'all remember that, man.
Y'all wasn't around when Derek Blaylock and Priest Holmes was running for 500 yards on the Atlanta Falcons.
You feel me? Y'all don't remember the John Baldwin catch over the head on the back, the trap catch. Y'all don't.
They wasn't outside.
Y'all wasn't here for that, man.
I wasn't here for the Jake Plummer bootleg. I wasn't here for that.
I remember that play.
I wasn't here for that.
Y'all wasn't here for it.
You don't remember the Phillip Rivers days?
Y'all don't remember them days.
I wasn't here for that.
The Antonio Gates pivot right on third down.
Man.
Boy, they wasn't Antonio Gates on third down. The way people feel about us and Travis Kelce on third down, that's how we felt about Antonio Gates on third down. Every time you knew he was getting the ball.
I went back and watched the Chargers game from 2018. I'm like, damn, Antonio Gates, man, that boy was 48 years old.
Still getting open. That's how people feel about Kelce. It's the same way, bro. He's been doing it forever. Still getting open.
Man, they wasn't outside with Chris Chambers, man. Anyway.
Chris Chambers.
Chris Chambers. Vincent Jackson, baby.
When we signed Ty Law after he was cooked.
Ty Law.
Come on, man. Wasn't here for that.
They wasn't trying to hear that.
Wasn't here for that. They don't remember the Glenn Dorsey days. It wasn't here for that.
Boy, Dwayne Bowe had 1,000 yards, and guess what? He had 0 touchdowns. I repeat, 1,000 yards and 0 touchdowns. Y'all don't remember that year, bro.
He was doing the Trey McBride challenge.
Y'all don't remember that year, bro. Y'all don't remember that shit.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
Remember the Bobby Wade days, man. Come on now.
Y'all don't remember that, man. It was dark days. It was dark days, boy.
Kendrell Bell.
The 2 and 14 days. Dark days, boy.
The 2 and 12.
Jerome Woods.
Shout out Jay Woods. Y'all don't remember
Greg Wesley.
Y'all don't remember them days.
Oh, man. Eric Warfield. I can go out there.
We can go all day.
Dexter McCleon. Come on, yeah. Julian Battle. Who else?
Who you want?
William Barty. That's a name for you.
You feel me? Y'all don't remember Jordan Lucas? Y'all wasn't here for them days. It was nasty. It was real nasty, bro.
Hey, Sammy Knight. That was the name.
Sammy Knight.
Hey, guest of the show, Sammy Parker.
Shout out Sammy. Shout out to real Sammy.
Wasn't here for that. In the OG days, man. All y'all
so
know
nasty outside.
is Super Bowls and AFC
y'all
West
remember
titles,
Cody Richardson
man.
on third down on 4th and goal?
T-Rich.
Y'all don't remember them
T-Rich?
T-Rich.
Come on, man.
T-Rich?
Y'all wasn't outside for T-Rich days, bro. It was real nasty.
You wasn't here for the Herm Edwards days. You play to win the game.
Romeo Cornell, bro. If y'all mad now with the coaching, boy, y'all would have lost y'all mind with that Romeo Cornell staff.
Gunther Cunningham.
The Colby Smith days, man. The Colby Smith days.
The Colby.
It was dark times, bro. We was living in dark times.
Colby Smith days.
Pre-2010 was nasty, bro.
Jared Page. What are we doing here, man? Come on.
Kimball Anders.
Kimball Anders.
Oh,
man.
my goodness.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Y'all wasn't here when we first got Tamba. Y'all wasn't here for that.
Young Tamba. Y'all remember
Young Tamba.
Young
Tamba.
Yeah. Justin Houston going for the sack record. Y'all wasn't outside for that, man.
Y'all wasn't outside.
He was going for that.
Y'all wasn't outside when Jared Allen led the league in sacks, man. Come on now.
Jared Allen used to be a Chief. Y'all don't remember that. Y'all only remember
that. Y'all remember him in the Vikings, man.
He was a Chief.
Yeah, John Baldwin out there running 9 routes.
Hey,
come on,
University of Pittsburgh. Respect John Baldwin, bro. That's a Pittsburgh legend. You better respect John Baldwin. 1st round pick.
Yeah, come on.
Y'all don't remember Larry Johnson going for the rushing title? Y'all don't remember Priest Holmes being the #1 back in fantasy before fantasy was even invented? Was the best back in the league. What are you talking about?
Who's it? James O'Shaughnessy. How about that?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good
one. How about that name?
That's a good one.
How about that name? Come on, now. True to this.
Patrick Surtain Sr. Y'all don't remember them days. PS1, not PS2. PS1. He played for us.
Oh, man.
Yeah. We had all them.
Shane McGrath. Y'all don't remember that?
Oh, the bald head with the big beard. Y'all don't remember. We had them tight ends, boy. Y'all don't remember that,
man, with the beard. The beard was coming out of the chin strap.
Fasano? Not the Miami Dolphin, the Chiefs version.
All that.
The guy that taught Travis Kelce everything he knows.
Yeah, young Trav. Yeah.
Man, for that. Y'all wasn't here when we signed Peyton Hillis after he was cooked.
Boy, oh my goodness, God.
Come on,
gang. This is after the Madden cover. Oh my goodness. Oh God.
Darrell Revis actually had nothing left in the tank.
Nothing. Not a thing.
Not an absolute thing. You couldn't find a gas molecule in that tank.
Boy.
Only thing he known for is tipping the pass back to Marcus Mariota. That's it. I wasn't here for that, man.
Y'all don't remember when I was defending Junior Hemingway, Michigan legend? Y'all wasn't here for them days, bro.
Junior Hemingway.
Look,
J.U. Chesson. How about that name?
Days, bro. It was nasty.
The Jason Babbitt days.
Y'all don't remember it, bro.
DJ White.
We had the court, the Thomas Jones.
Gaines.
The old Thomas Jones with the elbow pad. Thomas Jones. Yeah, we had him too. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Had all that.
Yeah.
Y'all don't remember that. Y'all remember the old line. The Rodney Hudson days. Y'all wasn't here.
Turk McBride, not Turk Wharton, but Turk McBride.
Turk McBride. Oh yeah.
Turk McBride.
Man, the potential we thought. Come on, man.
That's bro. You couldn't tell us nothing. We won that 2010 division. Couldn't tell us a goddamn.
You thought we
was the shit, boy, and then we ain't win another one.
Oh man, around for that. Eddie Kinnison, yes.
Shout out Eddie, man.
Shout out Eddie, man. OG Eddie. Okay, we
Lynn Elliott.
Lynn Elliott. You took it too far, Harold. You took it too far. We don't even bring his name up, Harold. Yeah, that's crazy.
Harold, now you wilding, gang.
See, it's always that one guy that killed a party, boy. Like
we was having fun.
We was having fun. You just had to hurt my feelings, dog.
All right, we got it off our chest. We ready to go. Now we can roll. Right. We can roll now. It's been a long time, bro. We got a lot of hats.
Got a lot of hats. A lot of hats, man. Yes, absolutely. So obviously, Chiefs Sunday Night Football versus the Chargers, able to get the job done. I think it was kind of a tale of two halves, specifically on the defense. Obviously, come out, get the field goals to start out 6-0, have at the end of the drive have to go up 13-0. Team immediately gives up those 2 touchdowns right out of halftime to the Chargers. And then you kind of playing catch up the rest of the game, trade field goals, obviously able to win the game on a doink for the division, which is absolutely hilarious call. And the only way that the Chiefs can figure out how to get.
Why was he so dramatic with it too, Tarico? For the division. No, I was at the game, so I couldn't go watch it. I'm like, bro, why was that so dramatic? Like,
bank was open. You know,
just bank it in just for the heck of it.
You know, just extended hours.
Really,
the bank is open on Sundays.
Yes.
All right. So yes, obviously there are a lot of things to dig into. I think we'll probably get a little bit more into Patrick Mahomes specifically here a little bit later on. Starting here, as far as probably the biggest headline going into this week, which was DJ Humphries starting at left tackle, came out, had his debut game. Uneven. I think there was a little bit of shock to start out in getting back used to obviously facing those live bullets of pass rushers coming after you. And it's a good group on the edge that the Chargers end up having out there. And ultimately, I think he tried to adjust, and I think he equipped himself pretty well. I think in the second, third quarter, he kind of got himself into a good rhythm to be able to do so. And he kind of lasted throughout the fourth quarter until, unfortunately, he had to exit the game. Was grabbing a little bit at his hamstring. They said that he was okay. Needed to go get an MRI. Still waiting on the results of that. We'll see if they hear more about that from the standpoint. What did you guys think about DJ Humphries in his first game action here in Kansas City?
Nothing but respect, bro. To not play a live football game in a year, and you go out there, you going against Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa, he held his own. Obviously, there were some plays where he looked like, first day of camp, like trying to get the legs back underneath you, a little wobbly at times, but for being your first game and your first live reps and you ain't really put on pads in almost a year, I respect him for sure. He did a hell of a job for me. That's all I could ask for, especially and for him not to finish the game. That's as expected. You haven't played any football literally in over 365 days, and now you're trying to play a full game, full speed, and play all 80-plus snaps. That's not realistic. So I expected Wanya to come in the game at some point just because you haven't played that long. So he did his job for me, so I appreciate what he did.
I'm sorry, that comment, the last comment just took me out for some reason. Anyway, DJ Humphries. Yeah. No, Humphries was serviceable, veteran serviceable. I felt like what I said earlier. I think in the last podcast, just bringing that veteran presence to this line. You can clearly tell there are some things that I think Wanye struggles with just because of experience alone in this league, and how to face some of these guys. And you can clearly see a difference between him and DJ Humphries. A couple reps where it's pretty bad, but you could tell it's just him trying to knock, the cobwebs off or whatever. You haven't played in a long time or whatever. So it's not easy just to step in against, arguably one of the better pass rushing duos in the league that you would say on paper with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack, and just tell him to go out there, play 60, 70 snaps, like it's nothing. So shout out to him, man, for doing that. But there was some good that I seen a couple times where he really helped keep Pat upright and keep him clean, allowing him to have a pocket to actually climb up into and take some sacks that Pat actually ran into. That was the cause of himself. But overall, I think the pocket was a lot better than it was, the previous week. I think the line played a lot better this week. The run game was still very effective, and that's something I know we said that Wanye's was one of Wanye's strengths at this point during the season. But it obviously didn't seem to take a decline with DJ Humphries being in there. So thought he did a great job, man. For what for the amount of reps and practice reps that he had up until this point. Hopefully, the hamstring injury is nothing too serious, and we'll get to see him back out there this Sunday.
Blitz pickup was also 10 times better than the week before. Yeah. You could tell they definitely watched him and honed in and focused in on the details. Mm-hmm. Definitely a lot of good blitz pickup. They definitely pass guys off a lot better, and that's definitely a credit to them, even with having a new guy in DJ, to show how much he can pick up things and pick up stunts and pick up twists. So definitely shout out to them on blitz pickup for sure. I know it's not known or talked about a lot, but you could tell a lot of the plays when Pat was running out of the pocket was because they gave him extra time by passing off blitzes correctly, which we didn't do well the week before versus the Raiders. So they definitely improved in that area.
Sure. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that, obviously everybody's going to point to this from my JP Ryan, big, third down and 10 blitz pickup on Derwin James, in which he did give up his entire body to make that happen.
Flew off.
Yeah. And shout out to Samaje Perine. I thought he had a really good game, and when they asked him to do a few things as well. But DJ Humphries, I thought was fine, and certainly for a guy that you're coming off the street cold, I thought was as good as you possibly could, imagine. ultimately speaking, I think it was a little bit leaky elsewhere outside of just him. I think that they had some issues, passing off some of the stunts and games that the Chargers were able to run, maybe not presenting the best way. I thought that they handled it a little better than they did in the first matchup from that standpoint, which is good to see as well. Obviously, DeAndre Hopkins gets in the end zone, but being able to use Hopkins, some more growth from Xavier Worthy as well, those things are starting to add up and really present different options for the Chiefs offense to attack with in between 20s. Unfortunately, once again, struggles to finish the job in the end zone on a consistent basis. Obviously, anytime that you kick 4 field goals, one of which obviously was by design by you wanting to make sure you ended the game with no time left at the end of the game. But the other 3, it's a job. It's an issue right now, just not being able to finish in the end zone. And hopefully, whether it's running the ball a little bit more, because their rushing percentage, I think, is like 25th in the league as far as red zone right now. They got to find something that works a little bit better, and you hope that in the playoffs they ultimately do. But if DJ Humphries is healthy, I feel better about the left tackle position based on how he performed in game 1 from that perspective. As far as the defensive side of the ball, Joshua Williams goes out in the third quarter of this game due to what was initially feared to maybe be a concussion. Ultimately, it's a chest issue of some kind. Sounds like he's going to be okay. Shouldn't be any type of issue from that standpoint. It'll be interesting to see how much they, again, lean on him. I thought he started out the game playing pretty well. Again, no Lab Akonki for the Chargers, though. That is something to take into account. But they were able to find success after Joshua Williams did go out, and being able to once again attack Shamari Connor in the slot, opposite corner of Trent McDuffie, safety, this Brian Cook and Justin Reed, lack of athleticism. Brian Cook, it seems like, due to injury, Justin Reed, maybe just due to a regular decline, continues to show up on tape as a big issue. And linebackers, I thought, had a solid day, but again, only so much ground that they're going to end up covering as well. Thought the pass rush was maybe moderately better than you saw versus the Raiders, just incrementally. But it is what it is at this point. It's kind of one of those things. And Tershawn Ward had 2 really nice sacks as well, one of which he bench pressed the right guard for the Chargers, which is nice. For me, it's an uneven performance, but probably overall a better performance on both sides of the ball, but specifically defense, than you saw versus the Raiders too. How did you guys feel about the defense for the Chiefs, particularly those struggles that you did see in the second half, though?
I was fine. I think they were actually pretty good this week. Outside, I can't expect them to be perfect, especially with all the injuries that they've kind of had to suffer through this year or whatever. So I know that they're going to tend to give up some plays or whatever. But I thought they held their own, especially on third downs, got off the field when they needed to. The pressure was a little bit better this week. Still kind of seeing Karlaftis and Dana kind of struggle to getting pressure off the edge a little bit, but I thought they did a good job of collapsing the pocket at certain points, making life a little bit uncomfortable for Herbert to have to step up. I think that's one of the reasons why Tershawn Ward came up with two nice sacks. Obviously Chris Jones, when he's matched up one-on-one, he's virtually unstoppable. Just wish that there were times where he would finish on some of his sacks, get the quarterback down to the ground. It'd be nice at this point, but just continue to keep doing what you're doing at this point. The secondary, I felt like wasn't the corners at least weren't a massive issue. The safeties were a little bit of an issue. Brian Cook specifically on the big long play that they had, I think, to Josh Palmer, a little bit out of place.
Yeah.
And then who else? Shamari Connor. Yeah, Shamari Connor continues to struggle in the slot. I just don't think that that's a vital place for him at this point. So hopefully them bringing in newly acquired Steven Nelson, if they can get him ramped up, get him out there on the field, allow him to kind of play on the outside and move Trent McDuffie back into the slot where he is an all-pro at. He's still an all-pro in my opinion on the outside too. He's obviously one of the best corners in the league. But as long as they can get him they can get him back out there and move McDuffie back into the slot, and I think also Josh Williams at this point, it being a matchup-based type thing, I think you can kind of sprinkle in him and Nazi when you feel like it or whatever based on the matchup at this point. I think they both kind of prove to you that they can kind of handle their own at certain points depending on what personnel the opposite team goes with. If it's a bigger receiver, obviously you probably want Josh Williams out there. If you want to play more zone, probably want Nazi Johnson out there a little bit more. So I think it's just a matchup based from week to week thing. But Josh Williams, I feel like if he would have been able to play maybe this whole game and not have to leave in the third quarter, I think those explosive plays probably would have been tempered down just a little bit due to his size and what he can bring as far as matching up against some of those bigger receivers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you know, it's one of those things where you look at the entirety of the secondary room and it's like, well, I got, one safety playing nickel corner that really can't guard wide receivers. I got one safety who's playing outside corner because, cornerback 2 and cornerback 3 got hurt. I got these 2 safeties who, one due to the injury, obviously, and Brian Cook, lack of, the ability to really trigger in the way that he did is his first 2 years really in the league. And then Justin Reed, and we know his limitations too. So it's not great. They're trying to work Jaden Hicks a little bit more into it. I think it's about 45% was his snap count as far as this game is concerned. So they're trying to find more solutions, get more athleticism out there. I'm not upset about that. Even so, they, he still had one play where a guy was crossing his face and he wasn't able to necessarily break up the pass. Yeah. So it's not a surefire solution.
Tick late.
Just tick late off of it. It's not a surefire solution, but I understand what they're trying to get to at this moment in time. But to your point, Stephen Nelson, who we'll talk about a little bit later, we'll see if that possibility, adding his element back into it, and obviously getting Joshua Williams back, can help mitigate some of those specific weaknesses at this current moment in time. I did want to say, though, in the spirit of getting, a little bit of positivity in here, I thought that the fact that we did see the sacks from the Chiefs, specifically in rushing 4, that Tershawn Wharton was able to get was a nice look. And this will be the first one. Leo Chanel ends up getting double teamed. Chris Jones and Dana push the pocket on the right side, and Tershawn Wharton just is able to get off the block and finish up the play. So, it's nice to see that a 4-man pass rush can result in some pressure. Here, it's a little bit more about the ability to cover, because that's certainly a little bit longer than maybe 2 seconds, but still, complimenting pass rush being
coverage
sack. Pocket. Yeah, it did end up resulting in it. This one I thought was a little bit more of a disruption. Slide the center over to Chris Jones to get some help. I thought FAU did a really good job here, getting across the face of Rashawn Slater. Karlaftis and Jones on the right side kind of shut off that front side of the pocket, and Tershawn Wharton just bench presses the left guard out of the way to go ahead and clean up the sack. You'll see what FAU does on the edge there. But this was a key one because this did knock them into having to complete a field goal instead of a touchdown to allow the Chiefs to be able to win the game on that field goal at the end. So shout out to the 4-man pass rush for being able to get something done, and everybody's whipping post, I guess, for lack of a better term, and FAU being able to create that initial pressure there to start on that play as well. So anything else as far as the defense is concerned, as you guys wanted to point out?
Now, hopefully, this is one of those things where the defensive line is getting hot at the right time.
Slowly.
I know a lot of people have complained, and I've probably been the main one that
rightfully so.
Consistent pressure from the front 4. But if this can keep trending on, into the playoffs, I think that they can really get hot at the right time and be really disruptive going into the playoffs. And if they can bring this type of performance to the playoffs, they'll be on their way to New Orleans.
We didn't blitz as much in this game, so you could definitely tell it was a honus or a focus on trying to get more pressure. And this is probably the best set of tackles we're going to see maybe the rest of the year, because Rashawn Slater has been one of the better tackles in the league, and Joe All's playing like an all-rookie guy. So we didn't see them the first time. So for us to see them the second matchup with their tackles both out there on the field at the same time was definitely confidence booster for us to go out there and make some plays for sure, because we needed it. So we need to get guys going. And December is about that time when we start getting guys in motion. Joe Collins, I know, has been on them more than anybody. And I definitely expect him to go out there and get going. And I definitely want to give a shout out to Terry Braden, the assistant D-line coach. He got the D-line coach job in Nebraska. So I know he's definitely been on them and definitely trying to tell them guys they know it's their last year together. So they've been together for the last 8 years, him, Colin, and the whole D-line group. So it's been a long time. They've been showing a lot of dominance. So I definitely want to see him go out on a high note for him, most importantly, for sure.
Yeah. If this defensive line, and we can also discuss this too, this defensive line with Charles Manning implemented can start getting that pressure with 4, then it does wonders for the secondary, because it allows you to put more bodies back there when they have issues, staying in space at this current moment in time too. So if you can do that, and we can talk about Steven in a bit, but I want Joshua Uche to be active and have snaps, guys. Spagnuolo, why is he inactive? I don't understand it.
He got to be holding him back for the playoffs, bro, because there's no way. I see him in the locker room. He's hyped, congratulating players. I'm like, I know you want to play. Like, get him out there. Like,
I don't understand.
He got to be a secret weapon, bro. Just secret weapon, I guess.
It better be.
It got to be, bro.
Because this team, again, because of their rushing defense being good,
they get into so many
they get into those third and long situations where
that's his job.
You don't have to have 2 edge rushers that can do. You just need one, because you got power on the other side. That you just need one guy that's going to get around the edge quickly and make it difficult for them. It's annoying. So hopefully they implement Joshua Uche to continue to inject a little bit extra juice into this pass rush. If they can do so, then they can help out that secondary. Speaking of the secondary, Steven Nelson was brought into the practice squad. Does seem to be a situation, according to him, that he's not necessarily going to be ready until Christmas, or maybe even afterwards, as far as that's concerned. For those that do not know, Steven Nelson played for the Texans last year, played pretty well as a corner. Obviously, he did start out his career
here during the Bob Sutton era. Y'all remember those? Yes,
during the Bob Sutton era, and left on a scorching note, to say the least. Not talking very highly of Bob Sutton or the city of Kansas City for what it may be worth, which probably some people maybe still are upset about. But to me personally, I don't care. If you can come in and help the team now, that's all that matters to me. I trust Andy Reid and Brett Veach with that room. So, he did obviously go to Pittsburgh, develop a little bit better, played well for Houston. He is a good press man corner from that standpoint. If this is something that he can come in and bring on the outside, because he's not going to go into the slot, and you have Joshua Williams on the other side, I think that presents the opportunity for Trent McDuffie to slide into the slot. You have 2, worthwhile outside corners that you can throw out there. That helps to mitigate, which really is the biggest weakness right now as far as the slot is concerned, because of Shamari Conner consistently having issues. And Shamari Conner can play on those early downs. I don't really have too big of an issue with that, though. I think the teams will adjust and try and attack that. But when they got 3 wide receivers out there and it's third and long, you got to put Trent McDuffie in the slot, because they can't continue to allow Shamari Conner to be picked on the way that they have. And I trust the staff to do so, because there's a reason why they call Steven Nelson. So,
and there's and the flexibility is Stevens plays slot too. So there's certain positions and in certain areas that they like to match up. Both of those, I like having 2 guys we can throw in the slot at times. So we know how Spags love to do his slot blitzes and try to get that fire zone that we like at the end of games. So I like having multiple guys you can use in that spot, because I think, like we said, Shamari been playing out of position. And credit to Shamari, not trying to bash him and say what he's doing wrong. He's done an excellent job of trying to cover up a gap that we haven't been able to fill all season. So he's done his job to a certain point. But like DMac said, when we start telling the truth and looking at the film, he has a weakness at some point. But giving his credit up to this point, he's done a hell of a job to try cover up for our lackness in the middle of the field coverage right now. So definitely enjoyed it. Happy to see Steven back. But no, shout out to Jamari for at least trying to wear a hat he's not comfortable wearing. But he's done a hell of a job up to this point, and just had to get a little help and get guys adjusted to different roles for sure.
Yeah, love the addition of getting Steven Nelson back. Was one of my favorite players while he was here.
Him and Lucas, boy, them was my guys.
I always felt like he was a guy that had that dog in him. Shorter guy, but didn't really play like it at all. A guy who can obviously, in my opinion, can kind of create turnovers. Very good with his hands and stuff like that. Get his hands on the ball. So hopefully he can bring a little bit of that to this team, which kind of lacks in that area at this point, and help create some turnovers for us. But yeah, guy who has a lot of versatility, can play on the outside, can play in the inside in the slot. I feel like he's probably in his heyday, he was best in the slot. At one point, I feel like he was one of the better slot corners in the
He was
league
damn good.
at one point.
Damn good.
Yeah, man, I love having him back. I know he left on bad terms a little bit, some of the fans and stuff like that. But there's always a chance for redemption and second chances or whatever. So I'm glad he's here. Watched this podcast the other day, and he said he needs a little bit of a ramp up period before he gets out there. So I'm assuming the Chiefs are probably going to give him a couple weeks to kind of get immersed into the playbook and get his feet underneath him and get his wind back, stuff of that nature. But yeah, once I feel like they can put him in there, you can definitely put McDuffie back where he really belongs and really helps you out a lot, especially in your blitz packages as well too, which could be really pivotal in the playoffs, come playoff time for them. Um, a place where I feel like he can thrive and help you create some of those turnovers that you need to kind of get the ball back and get the ball back in Pat Adams' hands. So yeah, definitely glad Steven Nelson is here. Hopefully he learns pretty quick. Vet guy, so expect him, to bring that veteran presence to this locker room as well, and just be ready to go. Let's go chase a ring, man.
Yeah. It last year he had I think it was only 5 snaps in the slot, 5 coverage snaps in the slot, I should say. The Texans did use him primarily on the outside, and I think some of that may be due to age as well. And look, if they want to try him out in the slot, I could also hear that. At least he's a corner, other than using another safety in that standpoint. So personally, though, for me, especially for what Spags likes to demand of his slot cornerbacks, is that you have to be able to blitz, you have to be able to play the run at a high level. We know Trent McDuffie can fulfill that role, from that standpoint, and we know Steven Nelson can be a good outside corner, especially in press coverage looks. So that's where I tried it out, but we'll see what ends up happening if they call him up and give him a chance after that ramp up period for sure. I hope that they do and see what he can give as well. Harold asked, kind of talking about even though we're winning, the coaches seem a little off their game. I think that we always have some level of criticism for the coaches. Still would not trade our coaching staff for anybody in the league. I want to make that perfectly clear. We always have some level of issues.
We do this every year, Harold.
Yeah, every single year. But the one thing I will say is this team this year, I think even more compared to years past, has gone through a lot of attrition, losing wide receiver 1s, wide receiver 2s, tight ends, running backs, the left tackle revolving door. Obviously, we know the issues on the defensive side of the ball at the cornerback position. So those things, I think, do necessitate a little bit of grace given from that aspect too. And so I think it's just normal things that we have little nitpicky issues, but I ultimately expect this staff to be on its game come playoff time. So that's kind of just how I feel about it personally. Chief KT, well, people like the Bills until January comes.
Cause they're the media. Come on, man, they're the
media darling. They love the Bills.
Yeah.
Josh Allen lost.
Team.
Josh Allen lost when his MVP odds went up. So.
Josh Allen's an MVP. Small town, great fans. Like I understand.
It is what it is, bro.
It
They've been wanting to give Josh Allen the MVP for years, so this is a perfect year to do it.
Right.
Perfect year.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Run into it. I mean, at least they're not trying to give it to Joe Burrow, I suppose. I know you love him. We were just answering.
Tough question.
Yes, absolutely. So for specifically our Tell the Truth film of the week, I think it'll be maybe a little bit smaller, or I should say shorter. But I did want to say that I think this game was won on 2 specific drives, and I think ultimately it's a good distilling down of Patrick Mahomes' season, in which you've seen some of the inconsistencies, I'll say, outside of regular moments, whether it's first and second down or kind of moments in the game that doesn't call for it. But he has been the best quarterback in the league as far as high leverage moments. Third down, fourth quarter, he leads the league in fourth quarter comeback drives as well. Game-winning drives, I should say. I was coming for it. He leads the league in fourth quarter comebacks as well. He's been at that level when he's needed to be from that standpoint. So I figured we can go through specifically the last 2 drives, or I should say the last drive of the first half, in which they scored the only touchdown in the game. And then, of course, the last drive that they ended up using to seal the game as well, and just kind of roll through some of these plays and take a look at them as well. And this is the first one that's a drive starter, little play action, and they weren't able to complete it there. They had some issues a little bit. They were leaky on the offensive line throughout the night, and they got a free runner here, so nothing ends up popping open as far as this play is concerned. But it is what it is.
Good coverage on that one.
Yeah.
Henley who's the linebacker 0, right?
Number 0, he can run.
He is athletic. He's
gonna be a problem.
He ran with a lot of receivers and tight ends yesterday.
I was definitely impressed with him.
Yeah, I was impressed with him too. He popped throughout the game, and then also watching it back on tape, he did a really good job. Next play, get it out to Xavier Worthy.
I kind of feel like he makes Derwin James's job a little bit easier as well too, being able to cover some of those tight ends and running backs out of the backfield. So.
Yeah, especially with that athleticism, no doubt about it. And look, those are the type of guys that that Harbaugh wants to put on this defense. Same reason why he went out and got Junior Colson from Notre Dame, who unfortunately missed this game on IR. But yeah, that's the entire reason. So third down here, and again, high leverage moment. This is where you got to make your hay. I believe this is going to be the 3rd and 7 to Xavier Worthy. Yep. And again, like I talked about in the post game, great attention to detail by Justin Watson.
Bro, thank you. Great job, Justin. Way to run the route correctly. Jesus Lord. It irks my nerves when I see receivers or tight ends just run into the DB. All you have to do is get in his way. You don't got to touch him at all. Just make him stop his feet or go around you and bubble around. You've done your job. That's all you have to do. Perfect route by Justin. He stopped and then went around.
Can we just talk about how fucking great 15 is?
Yeah, we'll watch that first and we can talk about that.
A guy in his face. And he still makes a dime throw on 3rd and 7. Like
off his back foot, boy.
I know a lot of people, want him to put up the video game type numbers and win the MVPs. And
this is how you win games right here.
Throw 400. Yeah, bro. Come on, dog. Like, what are we doing?
Khalil Mack and a backer diving on your face.
I just wish people would stop saying that he's fell off and this and that. Like, come on, gang. Like, y'all really not watching. Like, there's not a lot of guys in this league that can do this.
A crosser with a defender in your face.
Right.
Right, throwing crosser to your right or harder than to your left. So, yeah.
Because of the position of the DB here, because he's going underneath, you can't throw this ball on a line necessarily. They can undercut it. He's floating it over the top, and Xavier Worthy's able to bring that in. So, yeah, I mean, that is the greatest of Patrick Mahomes, where he's about to get hit by 2 guys with Khalil Mack trying his best.
And he gets smoked.
Yeah,
he said, Superman.
He did. And we'll talk about, protection here. 45 does a good job just kind of cross the face of Joe Tooney and Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack is a really good edge still. And gives it to DJ Humphries there. But Darian Henley then comes on the loop around blitz, which again was something that the Chargers continue to implement throughout this game, being that sending that late pressure at Mahomes off the edge, especially with an athletic guy. Henley certainly fits the bill to go ahead and try and disrupt some of those late second reaction plays as well. And so they did a good job on that stand. But hey, here Patrick Mahomes superhero play on the drag route to Xavier Worthy to go ahead and nullify it. Here we're going to get a 2nd and 3. Patrick Mahomes gets it into empty set to go ahead and get a good look at this. This wasn't DeAndre Hopkins. So it was a quick pass, right? Yeah, to Gray. Nice little out route by Gray, again, doing what he needs to do, running the route to the proper depth and able to secure the catch too. Anything as far as this play is concerned, you guys want to say?
Great job of using his leverage.
Yeah, I love when they actually spread out and go up tempo and kind of go to their quick game. I feel like that's when they methodically move the ball the best. That drive before halftime, when they went into that 2-minute drill when DeAndre Hopkins scored, I feel like that's when they're at their best. And I think it helps this line out a lot more as well too. They don't have to cover, they don't have to block as long. And you kind of being decisive about where you want to go to the ball. I think that's when Pat is at his best.
Absolutely.
He's decisive when he knows, right where to go with the ball. They move the ball very effectively.
Run game, play action, and quick game. We said it last week. Been saying it all year. This O-line is not built for the 7-step drop back game. I know Pat loves that. That's when he feels like he's at his best. But like DG said, this offense for this unit specifically, we have to run the ball, be dominant, keep ourselves in second and short, third and short, which we did a great job of. Sunday night, we were in a lot of 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 4s. I love to see that. And then when we run the ball, we can play action off of that, and it helps get guys open. And then when you do spread it out like this, you give a good indicator. You send Samaje to the flat. They bump everyone over, so they immediately let you know it's zone. So Noah knows I got this guy sitting between this slot defender and that backer. Push his inside shoulder, make him respect you, stick it, and then Pat put it on him, catch the ball, 7 yards, first down. That's when the offense is at its best, like DG said. So we can move the ball, get our up-tempo going, then we can take our shots when we get in the green zone, which is anywhere past the 40 for me. Then you could take a shot to Zay or Noah or Trav, wherever you decide that play. But, yeah, I feel like we're definitely at our best when we go in quick tempo for sure.
Yeah, and the thing I like to say, specifically talking about that indicator, right? And this is, even if it is a man-matcher zone, what it does is it does two things. A, it declares everything for the offensive line. Hey, we're clear up. These are the 4 guys. We understand our hot routes if we need to go to it, but more than likely than not, we're playing this straight up against these 4 guys in front of us. And secondly, for Patrick Mahomes specifically, he knows that he can see Noah Gray. He knows what route Noah Gray is going to play. He's like, this linebacker automatically is giving up that outside leverage that I need. I know where I need to get the ball out to immediately and to go ahead and convert. So that declaration to play out of empty and like you said, kind of also as far as a quick game was concerned, you definitely like to see how they were able to implement that in this drive and then also the drive to end the game too. And it was very effective. And there's something to being able to see the full picture that makes this offense operate because they get the ball out on time and in structure, which is ultimately what you have to do, especially with some of the offensive line struggles as well. So following the Noah Gray catch, we're on to 1st and 10 here. Patrick Mahomes back in the shotgun again. Still 2 tight end sets with DeAndre Hopkins and Xavier Worthy outside. Once again, really another mirror route. Yep. Same route. You see the inside leverage. Travis Kelce going to go ahead and see the linebacker drop out and take full advantage of him. And sit in that zone, go ahead and catch it, get another first down to the 20 as well. And they stuck kind of with these 2 tight end sets, which I thought was a good thing to do. 4 best pass catchers they got: Xavier Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins, Samaje Perine out of the backfield, Noah Gray, and Travis Kelce. So
great cut, Black Juwan. Way to give Pat a clear window. When you knock down Joey, now he came back down that pass. That's a great cut block. Boom. Now he came back
out there too.
Yep. Great cut block.
Yeah, I'll say that too. Juwan was a lot better this game, for sure, than he was in the Raiders game.
And I think run game and quick game helps everyone. It helps Juwan. Obviously, it's going to help DJ, but overall, just shortening the game, like DMac said earlier. When you have quicker plays, the defense can't react as much. They're used to putting their hands up and rushing, and now you cut block him. So now next time Joey Bosa rushes, he won't go as hard, or he'll be nervous of that cut block as well. So he'll be a little more weary. So Juwan can contain him more on whatever the speed rush or power rush he moves he uses. He can be more prepared for that. So definitely, when you keep guys off tilt by running the football play action, quick game, screen game, cutting them, kind of like what we saw the Rams do to the Bills, keeping the lineman off tilt and the defense off tilt, it makes your offense that much more aggressive because now the defense doesn't know what's coming, or they have to think about 2 plays instead of just thinking about 1. So,
yeah. A, shout out to DJ Humphries giving his best effort out there. B,
hey, he got his feet off the ground. The defender jumped.
He did his job. He did his job. Watch, and I know he got a bad penalty in this game. In my opinion, just comes with territory. Watch what Trey Smith does to Joey Bosa.
Boom!
As if the cut block wasn't enough. I love Trey Smith.
That's why I didn't care he got that hit button foul. I'm like, bro, Trey's a dog. I know sometimes he does some boneheaded things at times.
Which you gotta take it, man. You gotta take it.
He's a dog, bro. You gotta live with it, man. You need those. You gotta live with it. You need one.
Exactly. You need it. Don't even got to be all of them, but you need at least one of them.
Remember how we talked about Matt Ariza? You need to have a dude like that in the O-line room who don't give a F about nothing. He's just like, bro, he'll get a penalty every now and then, but he's just that dog who's going to finish plays the way he's supposed to. And that's the way you finish a play as a whole lineman.
Absolutely. So here, after that first down, moving on to minute 22 left, again, keeping with the same 4 pass catchers as well. Noah Gray, little shake route. Again, Noah Gray. We're seeing the growth from that
Gray, baby.
A little wiggle in him. Got a little wiggle in him.
Move them shoulders.
We'll see this route.
Move them
I'm
shoulders,
interested.
Noah. Bing, bing. And you see how that defender, he's
Pieces
waiting
of-
on him to run that stick right now. He just runs the pivot. Oh, my God. Bro,
I mean,
all the
that-
inside backers, you know,
I'm-
they on the sideline. Hey, watch the stick. Noah's like, all right, you think I'm running a stick again? He's like, Because now 43 thinks he's going to cross his face. And then he breaks out. Oh, sight. All I need that little hezzy. Got him.
It's that little
Playing some
hezzy
ball,
in out,
fellas.
and then see the linebacker coming, and then say, "I'm gonna go back across the ground." That's very Kelsey-esque.
That one hezzy step when he goes like, oh, because he thinks he's going to cross his face because we've been doing crossers all night.
Looks like he's learned from one of the best.
He's watching film.
It does seem like he
watching
has.
film.
And the growth is coming, and this is not anything out of the ordinary, specifically the tight end position. He feels like he's moving into being a true starting tight end viability. And you know that extension that Brett Reach gave him is looking better and better by the week. So shout out to Noah Gray continuing to show that
New
growth.
money, Noah, baby.
So you mean
New money, Noah, baby.
It takes guys a couple years to develop in this league, is what you're saying.
Best tight end group in the league. I told y'all
Specifically a
that
tight
2
end.
years ago, man.
Interesting. Development matters.
And we ain't even got all our guys yet. We still open. Ooh, y'all lucky we lost. Bro, if Jody and Jared were still here. Oh my God.
Is this going to? Yeah, this is okay.
So
I thought this was a touchdown. Yeah, so they got Juju back on the screen. I think did they have Kelsey going short more? Oh, they put Pacheco out there.
Oh yeah.
So I think the way that Mahomes kind of sees nobody run with him, it just gives him kind of that indication. Hey, I'm going to play to the bottom of the screen.
Yeah,
I'm going to play to the bottom of the screen with Kelsey and DeAndre Hopkins and see where we can get open. And this is all about the veteran tempo and understanding of how to run the route. In the way in which he settles up. I'll get back to the sideline view.
What do you do when he score? Get that D-hop.
Yeah, get that bow of respect. Where he just gets on the, kind of close the gap, blows him to sleep, creates that window, and goes and backs on into the end zone for the easy touchdown, man.
I need to see him do this the next time.
Night.
You know, to put the lullaby on.
Night.
That's essentially what I call this. This is a lullaby, you know.
And this is literally everything we talked about last week. Tempo, space, knowing where you're at,
patience,
not being patient, not being in a hurry. The window's going to be there. You got to sit in the window and be patient, and Pat's going to get it to you. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about this play, we can do this same exact action, rewind to DMac. If we wanted to run this action next week or in the playoffs, and we run the same kind of set, if Juju and Zay block, who's going to catch Pacheco? If we throw the flat, if we throw that swing route right now. Remember I was talking about swinging blocks?
Trav too.
It's that same type of play. If I get
that's what I was going to say is that if he wanted to play it because of how this is again the space that speed creates. Xavier pulls this linebacker so far up that Kelsey on this crosser because Henley is athletic, but he still wasn't swinging with him.
There's so many options you can grab this play, bro. So many options.
Yeah,
you could do swing and block, the crosser, the Trav, the slant, the D hop. So many things you could run.
These are the things that they show now so that they can
the
have
playoffs will see something off of it. Exactly. That's why when fans get upset, I'm like, bro, you can't. I know it's frustrating when we don't move the ball like we want to. You can't tell a coordinator to use all of his cards in the regular season. It's pointless. I'm not going to give you all my tails now, and then you watch the film, and then in the playoffs, you're prepared for it. I'm just setting you up with things now. Because Sean McVay did the same exact thing versus the Rams. He ran a play, called a timeout, ran the same exact play, flipped it, and then in the fourth quarter, ran an action off of that play. You're just setting yourselves up for plays later. And they may not use it now, but they'll use it like DMac said in the playoffs. So it gets frustrating when we're not moving the ball. They don't want to use all their good plays now because I'm saving them for high leverage moments when you have to have it.
Yes, and that is also the point of the opening script, to see how they respond to motions and figure out how they can get that information for later on in the game. And here specifically, if you go into the playoffs and you get one of these linebackers running with Pacheco and they try and match you with man, then you say, hey, DeAndre Hopkins, if we know this is man, then we're going to go and have the adjustment. We're going to have you do the same lullaby. We're going to have you fake the slant and then get out over the top because we know that it's man coverage and you can win off that route too. So those are the things that they can now build upon, because of the chemistry between Mahomes and Hopkins, but also the information that they continue to grab every single week too. And shout out to DeAndre Hopkins for the bow of respect celebration. I thought that was a nice touch too, off of that.
A little old school for him. Old school for him. He used to do
little dragonfly zones for him, man.
Yeah.
And like I said, quick game is when this team is at their best. We have a lot of guys that can make big catches in tight windows. Trav, D-Hop, Noah's in that group as well. Obviously, Zay can make plays when we use him on deep cross and using his speed. We have a lot of guys we trust in tight window moments. So having multiple guys you can throw the ball to on third down or tight windows is a big confidence booster, especially for Pat, knowing he has multiple guys he can trust. So this is good for the offense for sure.
Absolutely. So fast forward and head to the fourth quarter. Again, 4-minute drill. The Chiefs started out kind of in the 40-yard line after a pretty good Nico Remigio return. Shout out to Nico. Again, Henley flashing again, being able to cover Pacheco out of the backfield with some pretty good athleticism from that standpoint. DJ Humphries still in the game here. He would go out later in the drive. Sorry, go ahead, DJ.
I don't love the decision here from Pat. I'm not sure what he thought he saw. Maybe he was mismatch or
this is that moment when we were last week, we were talking about option routes. I would love to see Pacheco have one right here. I mean, obviously, like the linebacker's flat-footed, so his leverage is telling you to go on the flat. And like DMac said, he did a great job of just sitting there. Now, in a moment where if we do decide to give him that option, I think he can't beat him across his face because you're either going to force a PI or you're going to beat him so bad to where you get open. So I hope they are. Maybe it's built in the offense for later, like we said. Pacheco does have those option routes because there's moments when I have a linebacker flat-footed. You can't. Yes, the lever, his hips are telling you to go to the flat, but if he's just sitting there, I could beat him across his face because you either have to grab me or I'm gonna get open. It's like one or two things. So I would love to see us do that more with our running backs, give them more option routes when they give them one-on-one matchups, especially like that, because he's expecting you to run the flat. That's why his hips are pointed like that. So if I try to beat you across your face, it's probably gonna get a PI.
Mm-hmm. I got no issues there. I thought that, off the line did a solid job on this rep too. GJ would have lost late maybe, but it is what it is. Also, I thought Juju could have had a dig there, but he ended up running kind of more of a a crosser, which would have been undercut. So not really too many issues from that, I should say answers to go off of from that aspect too. 2nd and 10 here, I think it's also going to be incomplete. And again, you see them running across, indicated for man. Before the snap, and they send 5 guys to try and get an extra guy. Jawan Taylor, initially has the cut block to not, able to get him on the ground. Unfortunately, and nothing uncovers on the back end as well.
This is a good cover. They were just ready for this play.
Yeah,
they were ready for it.
It was just really good coverage snap as well because you're going to see Jawan's going to cut him, and it works, but he doesn't fully get him off the ground and kind of has to eat it to Pacheco. And we'll take a look kind of at the rest of the wide receivers here.
Henley kid was giving them fits, man. That kid is zero's gonna be good.
Yeah, 0 is nice, bro.
Them leaving him in as a spy, I think sometimes kind of affected Pat in those running lanes that he usually finds. He's good at finding. But that kid's speed and what he can, the ground that he can cover out there, you can clearly tell was a huge factor for them.
It's a tough throw, but I think I would rather have Zay clearing out right here rather than running the speed out because Trav is kind of like they're kind of eating up 2 spots right here. Yeah. So I would probably rather have like Zay maybe like run like a double move, maybe try to get that DB to bite. Because if you were going to tell him to run the speed out, you got to throw it. So
that's the thing. Like if you're gonna speed out, then I understand you feel like the cushion's there and throw it.
Yeah.
You got it. This has got to be a one step let it fly, especially if you're cut blocking Khalil Mack on the edge here. But to your point, if you're going from opposite hash and he's on that side,
that's a long
and especially if you're going to run Travis Kelce, in which basically everything is always going to be an option route, allow him to have that option route and have Zay run that double movement and block normally as far as the edges.
Give him more space to work. Exactly.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity there, especially because we've seen consistently we've used that speed out with Xavier Worthy a lot.
And out and up would have been a perfect one to run.
Absolutely.
And like we just said earlier, maybe that's something they build off on later. Everything is just a setup for later on. So there's so many opportunities that they could have hit more, which they probably will when bigger moments come.
Yeah, absolutely. But again, I thought, basically everybody else on the line, they did a pretty good job at passing this off, honestly.
Yeah, they gave him time.
It's just
cut block doesn't have to be a killer. Just had to give me an extra second. So
exactly. Yeah, they told Juwan to cut block on this. I would like to see him.
He made him back up. Like go. Hey, shout out to Khalil Mack. I don't want to see anyone get hurt, but he's had a torn ACL before when he was in Chicago, or was it the Raiders, I believe, when he got hurt. So he doesn't want to go through that again. So that's why he backed up when he saw this coming, and that's why he gave Pat the extra time. In this moment, Pat's just kind of just there. It's like, bro, there's nothing else. You just got to eat it or throw it away. Just take the L.
Away.
It is
very,
what it is.
very, very savvy, smart play from Henley to keep your eyes upfield. Sometimes guys get a little too adamant about pass rushing and trying
Yeah.
to get there or whatever. You can clearly tell he was just waiting.
He knew he was the spy, so I'm gonna just
rush
rush and then come
rush
back.
with
Yeah,
integrity, keep your
exactly.
lane, and then use your
Come back.
speed to get back to the quarterback.
Exactly.
And I say this is something that we saw a lot from Willie Gay and his athleticism and his awareness to be able to do, to really shut that front door of whether it's a B gap or
and
A
then come
gap,
back.
escape from a guy. And I think Henley showed well, and this is honestly something the Chargers do well in general, being able to shut that front door escape here. So this is key 3rd and 10 to keep the drive alive. Again, Chargers showing a little bit of a money front, some type of simulated pressure.
Yeah, 3 down, 3 standing, 1 to 4. Yeah, 3 down, 3 up. Yeah.
Yep, and they're going to end up going,
1, 2,
3 by 3 on the backside, 3 guys shallow, 3 guys deep. Xavier Worthy is going to recognize that there's a cap over the top, and then end up presenting himself to come back to help out Patrick Mahomes, and Samaje Perine willing to put his body on the line to create that.
Great job, Samaje. Way to come
Absolutely.
back. Come back.
Travis Kelce clears out that underneath guy there. Xavier Worthy recognizes the cap over the top, and was able to come back and present that option there to Patrick Mahomes. And those are the things that you want to see him and Pat on the same page of being able to present himself as an option to convert. And again, another feather in the cap of Xavier Worthy's growth as well.
There's so many options out this play as well. Like if I'm D-Hop and I see that speed out and I'm running that and I see the DBs over the top, just cut it back and turn it into a curl or come back and just come back to the ball. Once you ran it out and you see he's over the top, now he has leverage on you. He's running, so he thinks you're going deep. You can come back. And he could have thrown it to him as well. Justin Watson was obviously open on this little check down as well. So there's so many options you could run off of this play. Obviously, if you pick it up better when they give you fronts, but there's just more ways to run routes. Every route is a setup, like we said. So that speed out could turn into a comeback or a curl for D-Hop as well, because he has so much green grass to work with that DB in one-on-one. Or Pat could just throw a back shoulder like he did earlier. I would love to see that too.
I would appreciate it if people would stop saying Brett Veach can't draft receivers. So obviously, the last 2 years, he's proven to you
2 for
that
2.
He can bring 2 of these guys in here, and both of those guys' trajectory and through their rookie years has kind of worked a similar way. We've seen their growth kind of progress over the year. This is one of those plays where I feel like Xavier Worthy's growth showed a lot on this play. Again, 15 is 15, man. He's incredible.
Shout out to Samaje because Creed smoked that block. He was supposed to get it. That's Creed's guy. Creed just let Derwin go right by him. That's so bad because Samaje was supposed to take this edge defender.
So I don't know exactly how they called this because Creed is peeking at Henley.
Yeah, it looks like they call like Riz, so they're sliding right. So if it's me, I'm gonna go Juwan. You get Khalil. This D tackle goes Trey. Creed, you pick up most dangerous, which is Derwin. Joe Tooney would have got 0. I would have had Samaje slide over and get this late edge defender that's blitzing late because it's the widest one. That's the one I would have had Samaje go get. That's how I would block up this game. So I go 1, 2, 3. Samaje, you will get 4 off the edge. Because like you can't just let the A gap just like go right. Because
the problem is that they did double mug it up though. So I don't know if they called it according to, hey, we got a linebacker and a safety down here. I'm going to slide to the linebacker and running back. If I miss, you're responsible for whoever gets through this A gap. I kind of understand if they called it that way.
Exactly.
And they end up sending the slot corner from the right side anyway as well. So they end up getting kind of that aspect of it on top of it as well. So it's a good play design from the defense as well. And honestly, if Xavier really doesn't adjust, then it doesn't end up being a completion. But Patrick Mahomes, excellent pocket navigation, creates the backside where Bud Dupree is getting around the edge of DJ Humphries. The free blitzer also comes all the way around the edge. Derwin James gets blown up and blown all the way back past him because of Samaje Perine's block. And he's just able to find just enough room to go ahead and get the jump pass off to Xavier Worthy, which is a pass that really only he can make.
Hey, watch that. You saw the corner. He stomped like a little kid. He was so mad. At the end of the play, he thought for sure that blitz was going to work. At the end of the play, he was stomping.
It was a well-designed blitz, but
it was. They thought that double A gap is crazy, but they definitely Samaje. Shout out to him, man, for making us look right in that pickup for sure. That's definitely a tough play.
Mm-hmm. Here is just going to be the standard get out the B gap and create some yards after the play as well. No flag. That was a
43.
legal
What we
hit.
doing, bro? That's a flag.
No, that was a legal hit. I thought initially
Nah,
when I was
DMac,
watching
he
the
hit
play.
Initially, it looks like it, but
He
he
hit him in the
does
white,
get him
D-Mac.
before.
Yeah, he did get him.
He gets him
Yeah.
before he gets to the white.
He
Get off.
got him just before.
He
Great
cashed his
closing
longest rush
speed.
prop too. I think it was 9.5. Shout out to Pat. Appreciate you.
I think the one thing I did want to point out here.
Pocket was good. Pocket was
Yeah,
clean.
Pac was solid. Yeah, he had
Clean
time to.
It's nobody open.
Hey,
This is
DJ
my
did a
favorite.
great.
One
Is
of
that
my.
Wanye in at this game at this point? Yeah,
That's
Wanye did a good
Wanye.
job.
It's Wanye at the top. He did a good job.
Juan had a
him
good
there.
pocket. Step up. Plenty of air. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those things where maybe
Just nobody open.
nobody ended up getting open on this play there. But the one thing I did want to say is this is one of my favorite little awareness moments. Hey, I know this guy's looking at me, and I know he's running. I'm just gonna run you. We're running.
Get out the way.
Get out the way. Come with me.
Get out the way. Smart. Yeah.
We're gonna go on a chase. I did want to see the kind of the rest of the play develop. Worthy's running that little, in and out a little bit. Juju sitting down. I think that's Watson there coming out of the slot fade. So nothing ended up coming open.
He's the spy, and Pat just beat him to the spot.
Yep, Mahomes creates this play, being able to get out of that B gap and running for another first down as well. But yeah, good blocking up front. Wanye Morris.
Yep.
Wanye Morris does his job there, and they end up getting the first down as well.
Like DG said earlier, just run them around the hoop. They don't always have to just beat you straight up with a power rush if they're gonna try.
Yeah, just take them right up the arc. You can,
Yep. So following 2 runs after that first down, we end up getting to the 3rd and 7 here, and we get the full little play action sprint out. Most unsung part of this play, Juju coming back to crack down on Joey Bosa on the edge there just to slow him up and give Mahomes kind of a free space to operate here. And obviously, given what ends up developing in this play is incredibly key that he's able to do so. Gives him time to avoid Henley on the rush and get the ball to Kelsey as well. So, hey, man, that's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelsey doing their thing.
Death taxes 15 to 87.
Could have went to D-Hop. Yeah.
He could have. He definitely could.
Could have cashed me out on my fifth reception.
Running across, but that safety was right there. It would have been 24. It would have been kind of tough. Would have been dicey. Mm-hmm. And Trav cut his route short. And I don't know if anyone heard this. I think it was Chase Daniel or Dan Orlovsky. Someone on ESPN said he ran his route wrong. That's the correct route. He just cut it short. So Trav has a corner route or a sail, whatever you want to call it. And he knows, hey, the safety's overplaying me. So I'm going to cut my route short and then help my quarterback out to make the throw easier for him. So this is what you call route awareness, and Trav's been doing this for a decade, so it's nothing new. He's scored plenty of touchdowns on this play. So
this is the same thing that we always, I made the earlier video on. This is the same sail sit, corner sit, Seattle sit round, whatever. You see the adjustment. If you know the guy to the outside has the leverage to you, go ahead and just sit down.
Yep. You're open.
Sit down and you present yourself, and obviously Mahomes is able to make the play to get to the first down, and Travis Kelsey knew how much he need to get to that first down. So shout out to them.
Yeah. Just being on the same page, Kobe and Shaq, in their heyday,
easy work,
lobs and these things you see.
Easy work.
These guys are just they got that telepathy together, so they know where each other's gonna be.
Y'all see Pat hit him with the Jameis? Watch the Jameis. Watch him hit him with the Jameis.
I kind of feel like D-Hop and Pat's relationship is kind of growing like that as well too.
Mm-hmm.
So just veteran savvy, man.
You got multiple guys. Multiple guys.
And this is the thing about playing the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. You can have one of your best games of your career, certainly for a rookie like Henley. Athleticism all over the place, and you could think that you got a kill shot in the quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes,
psych.
Sayonara.
Psych. A great job of covering up the ball to make sure there's no strip. Covers the ball.
Patrick Mahomes.
Immediately reloads and gets the ball out there, man. I mean, that's just Patrick Mahomes magic. And I got to say, he was feeling himself after that one, too. Because y'all know, I don't know I think we can.
Hey, Zero was mad, too. Buddy was saying, he was like, fuck.
Oh, no, I'm not supposed to do that. No, I'm not going to do it.
No.
There we go. I was going to say, because he was feeling himself.
Please don't cancel us.
Yeah, he was pretty hyped up after that play.
He was play. Which was a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, just wanted to go through as far as kind of the high leverage drives, I'd say, and specifically where Patrick Mahomes continues to excel at being one of the best. I shouldn't say one of being the best quarterback on third down, continuing to be
And
one of
fourth down.
as far as and third and fourth down being one of the best just in those high leverage moments as far as fourth quarter and overtime is concerned. Doing what it needs or doing what the team needs to win ultimately in those moments. So shout out to Patrick Mahomes.
I think they gave out the stat that as far as EPA for quarterbacks on third and fourth down, I think he passed like 50 points above anybody else this year. So essentially, he's, like DMac said, the best quarterback on third and fourth down, and it's not particularly close either. I think the next closest quarterback is Josh Allen. But like I said, I think he's like 50 points higher than him. So it's pretty a distinction between first and second quarterback on third down. Even with the year that overall Josh Allen is having, which he is having a great year, but when it's money time crunch moments, 15 is proven time and time again. Linemen play, receivers down, doesn't matter. He finds a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So along those lines, I will say Hollywood Brown. Hopefully we will hear good news. He's supposed to get a condition checkup here this week, and hopefully practice in some capacity is also this week. Does not sound like he will possibly play at the Browns coming up here this week. Could be an outside possibility of him getting some snaps against the Texans the week after or on Christmas versus the Steelers as well. We'll continue to look out for that. But let's be honest, you're going into the postseason and you have the running back trio of Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, and Samaje Perine. You have the wide receiver group of Xavier Worthy, DeAndre Hopkins, and Hollywood Brown. You have the tight end duo of Travis Kelce and Noah Gray. Those are weapons that this offense can be really dangerous with as long as the offensive line does what it needs to do. And obviously that's pending DJ Humphries' health, but I'd be excited to see what that looks like come playoff time. I know you guys are too from that standpoint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely excited to get Hollywood back. That ability to have another guy to stretch the field, opposite of Xavier Worthy, I think is really going to be important, especially coming down the stretch here and towards the playoffs. It makes them a nightmare to be matched up against when you got two guys that can flat out just fly down the field. So.
Absolutely. It's going to be a really interesting playoff matchup when we go on the field, and you can have a receiver room with D-Hop, Juju, obviously Hollywood and Zay. Then you could have your full tight end room with Trav and Noah. And then you have two running backs you can go to with Pop and Kareem. And this isn't the group we expected, obviously, going into training camp, which we know no roster is the same way it looks in August is the way it's going to look in January. But if you told me that's the weapons we have going into a playoff scenario, I like our chances against anyone for sure.
Oh, wow. That's for sure. Sorry. The other thing, unfortunately, is that we did only go 1 for 3 here this week.
But we won the game.
We did win the game. I mean, we're still chasing.
If you single betted Isaiah Pacheco's yards,
he cashed.
Yes, Isaiah Pacheco did cash on his.
I think Travis sat at 40. My fault, gang.
I think he's like 48. Noah Gray was at like 31 or something. So
close.
I got greedy with Noah Gray. If I got it at 25,
you would have been cool.
We could have been safe and I would have hit. But
right.
It is what it is.
We'll get back. And I thought about D-Hop ATD. I thought about it. I was like, I thought it'd be a Pacheco week.
Nah. Had a feeling Pop would come into this game and have a pretty good game. Was glad to see that the Chiefs decided to establish the run early because I think that's
finished the run.
Yeah,
thank you.
Kind of helped. So, Pop definitely adds an element back to this offense that we were kind of lacking over the last couple of weeks. His speed, his explosiveness, his toughness of how he runs. May not break a whole bunch of big ones off for you or anything like that, but damn sure give you, a good 20-yard gain or something like that. So
it's a hell of a combo.
Yeah, for sure.
I know, obviously, like Gibbs and David Montgomery are the top two running back combos in the league for a reason, but I think going into the playoffs, these guys could be right there next to him. Both interchangeable, both can catch the ball on third down, both run hard and fall forward for first downs. Both don't have the long end speed like Gibbs or Montgomery does, but they're still very explosive players that can go out there and make plays given the opportunity. So I love this combo going into the league. We haven't had a combo like this since Jet McKinnon was here. And I love these guys even more so because they're both powerful on third down where they can run forward and knock over someone and always try to get first down. So I think this could be a very scary combo for a lot of teams, especially when we start running the ball in our high leverage moments and getting that play action game going. It could be real scary for sure.
All right. I did see this stat. Shout out to Caleb James over there. And
Scoops.
Arrowhead Pride. Patrick Mahomes said Matt Stafford are tied for first in quarterback knockdowns at 55, and Mahomes said 13 times.
That's hilarious. I thought Bo Nix was up there. I thought maybe he dropped down.
It's not. But yeah, it feels like he should be tied for the lead in quarterback knockdowns too. So hopefully, we can not get him hit as much. Do not necessarily have that.
Why do you make raise his voice? Not get him hit as much.
Be nice. It'd be nice if he wasn't always getting hit. Man. But look, winning in structure is the main thing, and right now you have DeAndre Hopkins, who is presenting you some outside options as far as the receiving game is concerned, with physicality, being able to secure those, whether it's end breakers or just comebackers, those things of that nature. And also some back shoulder throws that he's trusted with. You have Xavier Worthy, who's bringing that clear out the field ability and now adding a little bit of growth, whether it's to drag routes underneath some of those corners and posts too. And Travis Kelce is still being able to patrol the middle of the field. Right now, this team has those zone coverage answers. It just needs that man-to-man beater. Hollywood Brown, if you're able to come back, that's going to be your role. And I'd love to be able to have him added back into from that standpoint. I certainly hope we get him back. And that'll allow this team to operate within structure in addition to the run game, to where Patrick Mahomes doesn't have to create so many plays from that aspect.
All his weapons are available. Got your deep shot with Zay, possession receiver with D-Hop, man beater and zone beater with Hollywood, your 2 tight end sets, 2 running backs. All of our options are available now.
Yep, absolutely. We're getting to that point, man, hopefully. So moving on, Chiefs versus Browns this weekend. The rare noon slate game for the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday.
It's about the action. No, it's not about the action.
Going to see Jameis.
No, it's not about the lights, the cameras, or the action.
It's about the
action.
The horses are prepared for battle, but the winning becomes from the Lord.
Yes.
Blessed is the man that endures.
Put your faith.
And Sunday, it's going to be about enduring. Yeah. Who's going to endure enough to get the win? That's what it's about.
We are blessed to be in this opportunity, to be here on a great Sunday afternoon to play the game of football together as
it's a beautiful thing
in Christ and as man. It's a beautiful thing.
And I know Jameis was praying that the Lord don't deliver him from his pick sixes, but Lord, I know them strongholds take longer than a week, and I'm hoping that maybe the Lord just ain't through with him yet. I know they always say the Lord ain't done with me. Maybe he ain't done with you yet this week, Jameis.
He may not come. He may not come when you want him to, but he on time. I hope he ain't on time on Sunday.
You see, Lord, maybe it ain't his time this week.
Be late.
Maybe you ain't done working with him, but I know you gonna work with him.
Matter of fact, don't be there. Just don't show up.
I am so sorry,
Brother Jameis. Hey, let him do his thing. You know what I'm saying?
He prayed to the Lord to deliver him from pick sixes, and the Lord is delivering the Chiefs secondary so that he doesn't actually throw a pick six. So I'm sorry to inform you guys.
He got a strong hold on them pick sixes, Brother DMac.
He's going to have that prayer answered on Sunday.
I hope he's not delivered.
Deacon DG, I don't think he's gonna be delivered this week, but I know the Lord gonna have a plan for him.
He's getting delivered from them pick sixes this week because the Chiefs secondary ain't picking him up.
Hey, let the Lord bless him.
No,
Lord said, "Let it so."
Sayonara.
That's what he said. The horses are prepared for battle.
Y'all know we're not getting this interception off this man. Hey, we are going to be the only team that can't intercept Jameis Winston. Y'all know this is going to happen.
We're getting a pick this week, bro. I'm about to bet it. We're getting a pick this week just because we said it. It's gonna happen, bro.
What's more likely that Mahomes throws a pick or Jameis Winston throws a pick? Mahomes has been very specific about not throwing interceptions.
I think Jameis, bro. I think Jameis.
I think if we get them in a scenario where they get down, then
and he has to throw the football. Is Jameis? Yeah. He's throwing one like 3 in 2 weeks now. I'm gonna go Jameis. Yeah, we gonna get a pick. We're gonna get a pick.
He threw one to a defensive tackle last week.
Let's be honest. Come on, bro.
I really love you guys' optimism. I'm so glad that you guys have.
Like I said, I know God works on his own time, and I'm hoping he works on his own timing on Sunday afternoon.
The horses are prepared for battle.
12 o'clock. Do not deliver Jameis Winston from his interception problem, please.
The winnings come from the Lord. That's all it is. And the Lord said, hey, he thought he was going to deliver him, but he threw another one last week, DMac. So he going
deliver us the ball into our heads. Said
what the Lord said, you going through seasons. Jameis Winston going through a season right now. He's thrown 3 picks in 2 weeks. Yes. I don't think he out of that season, fellas. Yes. I don't think he is.
It's all about how you conquer the trials and tribulations that you have to go through when when you're
The
working with
strongholds,
God.
they come from your mental. All it takes is a seep of doubt. And if the Browns get down by one touchdown or one score, that doubt gonna creep in. And we know what happens when Jameis see that doubt. He gonna throw that ball.
Well,
And more often
well,
times, he gonna throw it to the other team.
come on,
I'm not saying this to be truthful. I'm just telling you the facts. We've
come
seen
on,
it for the last
guys.
3 weeks. Hell, we've seen it this whole career. Ain't that right, fellas?
Now, when he
Wow.
Receivers are
throws it to
not.
the other team, is the other
Sunny
team
side or
going to
not.
catch it on Sunday?
James gonna throw that
We'll
ball.
see.
And more
Is
often
the other
times than
team
not, the other
going to
team
catch it?
gonna catch it. Just like
Justin
Is
Reed
the other team
will.
going to catch it?
and this just for that, Justin Reed gonna catch it.
He
Just
dropped
be-
one earlier this year.
And he gonna catch another one like he did earlier this year. Just whenever we think something not gonna happen, that's what happens, bro. It's just it's
It
the
ain't gonna
Browns.
happen.
It's the Browns.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I hope he's not.
Chiefs Browns. Myles Garrett is amazing. He's the best edge rusher of the National Football League. This is going to be a tough challenge, whether it is Jawan Taylor or DJ Humphries or whoever they put at left tackle. It just is going to be. He's a beast. Secondary for them is in flux. We'll see what ends up happening from that perspective as well. Linebacking core can be had, so hopefully they can patrol the middle of the field and really own that standpoint as far as the offense is concerned. Other side, Jameis Winston has his normal Jameis Winston volatility. He's been able to throw for some high yardage marks, but still been able to give the ball away as well. We've seen good Jameis, we've seen bad Jameis. They haven't necessarily gotten their run game up to pre-Nick Chubb injury standards. They've been okay recently, but not great. They should be able to make them a little bit more one-dimensional, but this is a team that's had their weapons play very well recently, where there is Jerry Jeudy. Cedric Tillman has been out the last few weeks. We'll see
Michael
if
Woods,
playing in this week.
David Njoku.
Michael Woods, David Njoku, been extremely athletic at the tight end position, and we know we can't guard tight ends as well. Elijah Moore's been playing well from that standpoint too. So they got some weapons. They will throw the ball, and we'll see if they can take it away from on the Chiefs defense side. So give me your X factor and your game predictions as far as the score is concerned for Chiefs Browns coming up on Sunday at noon.
Who's been getting exposed on them? I'm gonna say Xavier Worthy, because the last couple of weeks when they've seen receivers with speed give them issues. Obviously, George Pickens didn't play the second matchup, but the first matchup, his speed and his depth gave a lot of the receiver DBs for the Browns issues, which is very concerning for me because it's one of the better DB rooms in the league. Not to say Denzel Ward, he's personally having a good year, but as a unit, they've been very bad at covering receivers and giving up a lot of big plays. And they gave up some plays last week as well. Since I believe Van Jefferson and Pat Freiermuth both got in the end zone. So those are going to be some chances for Noah Gray and Xavier Worthy to get in the end zone. So I'm going to go Xavier Worthy is my offensive X factor. My defensive X factor is going to be probably, I'll say Jaden Hicks, either him or Justin Reed, because they're going to get opportunities. He's going to throw the ball to David Njoku. He's going to throw it to him often. He's definitely throwing it to him in the red zone because that's his favorite red zone target. So they're going to have opportunities to make plays. So if you can get your hands in there, like we said, Jameis will give you an opportunity to make a play on the ball. Will you do it is the question. But yeah, one of those two guys is my X factor because I believe our run game has been stout all year. So Jameis will be forced to throw the football. And more than oftentimes than not, he loves throwing it to Jeudy or Njoku. So you have a chance to make a play.
I'll say offensively, this is probably, it's going to probably sound obvious, or a typical answer. But I'll say Patrick Mahomes this week. This is a matchup where you're facing, like you said, best pass rusher in the league, arguably a guy who's virtually unstoppable.
DPOY.
Yeah, he's virtually unstoppable, man. He's made out of a factory. I swear he was made in Wakanda, man. Dude is massive. Get around, bend the corner, bend the edge, beat you with a bull rush, whatever. I think it's a game where Pat has to keep himself composed, not allow his internal clock to get sped up at points in times just because, Myles Garrett is doing his thing, which don't really expect our tackles to go in here and put them on an island and leave them alone with him or whatever.
There'll be a lot of chip help this week.
Yeah, chip help, but also being able to navigate the pocket a little bit, extend some of those plays, and then just taking what the defense gives you at points in times. If you gotta throw it away, get rid of it. You gotta dirt it sometimes. Do what you gotta do. Do everything in your power to keep yourself upright and healthy at this point, because Miles Garrett is gonna definitely play with a lot of intensity, a lot of nastiness. So I think Pat really has to be locked in on being on time. Uh, Maybe getting to that point where they do go up tempo just to get the ball out of his hands a little quicker,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and just being methodical and going down the field. Not gonna have a lot of time to have a lot of long developing routes and try to take shots down the field or 5, 7 step drops and stuff like that. You know,
Okay.
here or there, ball out, and and just live with those results. At the end of the day, defensively, um, I'll go with another obvious guy, man. I think Chris Jones is a guy who's got to step up in this game, and obviously you got a great pass rusher on the other end of who the Browns have. You've been clamoring to be defensive player of the year as well. As we all know you're one of the best, arguably the best defensive tackle in the league. I think that matchup, knowing who's on that other side, will kind of motivate you into going into this game and knowing that if I dominate, if I go out here and have a 2-3 sack game or whatever, more than likely we come out and with a dub on the other end. So I think Chris Jones has to step up and be big in this game as well too. Browns are obviously going to be competitive. They've been competitive all year, for real. Not your typical 3-10 team up until this point. So they're obviously going to want to beat you, especially being at home. It's gonna be cold. Um, this is a tough road game for the Chiefs to walk into. So you can't come in here sleepwalking through this game and think you're just gonna win just based off of who you are at this point. So I think both of those guys got to step up, lead this team to a dub, and get this team to get in that mindset that this is another team that's in our way of where we want to go at this point.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it there.
Last nooner of the year.
Yeah, last noon game of the
Let's
year.
make it a good one, man.
Well, technically, not.
Well, yeah, because we don't know.
Week
when the
18
Broncos
is
game is going
TBD.
to-
TBD.
When is Christmas supposed to be noon or is it 3
Christmas
p.m.
is noon, and Texans on Saturday is, I think, is at noon too.
It's noon too. Interesting. Okay, so
Oh
we
yeah,
got
this
noon
is
to finish
Saturday.
out the
Yeah,
season.
it's a Saturday.
My bad. So the thing for me, as far as this matchup is concerned, the Chiefs' offense versus Browns' defense is kind of a mirror. Neither are particularly good on early downs, but they're both pretty good as far as late downs are concerned. Obviously, we talked about Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs' offense earlier, leading the league as far as success rate is concerned. The Browns are also one of the top in the league as far as being able to get off the field on 3rd and 4th downs. Not as good, kind of middle of the pack as far as early downs. To me, that means you got to get ahead of the sticks, specifically with that run game. They're better against the run than they are versus the pass, but you gotta be able to stay ahead of the sticks, in my personal opinion. And honestly, given the way that their kind of defense is, they're pretty good as far as success rate is concerned. To me, they're I think they're 3rd in the league as far as explosive plays given up, as far as the most explosive plays given up on defense. You got to get some explosive plays. So for me, the X factor is going to be Xavier Worthy. If you can find a way to get some explosive shots to Xavier Worthy off some play action when you're finding early down success, then you're going to have the opportunity to really, get ahead in this game and possibly stay ahead in this game, really. And I think that's the way that you can hurt this defense, being able to create those big chunks as well, specifically through the air. And I think that DeAndre Hopkins' physicality as well will match up well with what the secondary likes to do over there in Cleveland. I think that's going to be important too. The other thing, as far as the defense, the Chiefs defense is concerned, I think you guys hit the nail on the head. You're going to need athleticism to deal with these weapons. I don't think that they're necessarily going to, get into a lot of heavy personnel sets. They're going to spread it out and run the ball occasionally, but really throw the ball a lot. You have to be able to be ready for that. You got to, it's going to be, hopefully Joshua Williams is out there, but you're going to need Najee Johnson because you're going to need 3 corners in this game. You're going to need Jaden Hicks because you're going to need his athleticism. You're going to need a better game from Brian Cook and Justin Reed, to say the least. So at all those, again, I like the Jaden Hicks shout out. To me, I'll say the X factor is actually Najee Johnson because I think Joshua Williams will play well. I think McDuffie will play well. You kind of got to live with what the reality of the situation is with Shamari Connor until you get another outside corner. But they're going to ask Najee Johnson to play in a lot of these 3 wide receiver sets. He's got to play a pretty well game from that standpoint too. And he has athleticism and safety skills. If Jameis Winston does make a mistake, he can pick the ball off. I actually believe that he can do so to this point in the season. So I'll say my X factor Xavier Worthy, Najee Johnson, and we'll see how that turns out. As far as score prediction, 20. 20. We go 24-23 Chiefs. Yeah, okay. 24-23 Chiefs. I can see this going either one of these ways. I can see if the Chiefs drag this down into the mud like they do pretty much every game, and which would go a little bit against grain as far as that's concerned. I could also see them, getting down early because Jameis Winston makes 1 or 2 explosive plays, and they're like, well, we ain't got a choice. We got to create some explosives on top of that to get back into it. So it may be a little bit more high scoring from that standpoint, but I'll go 24-23 Chiefs from that standpoint.
I'll say score prediction. I'll say 22. Say 22-16 Chiefs.
Let me look at these odds. Let me see. I ain't with them yet. Over unders 45. Chiefs are -4. So I think we're going to I'm gonna go with the Browns score last week. They got smacked by the Steelers. 20.
They scored 14.
14. They were on the road. Now they're at home. At home, they usually throw the ball pretty well. They scored 20. Yeah, I'm gonna go Chiefs. Chiefs 24. Browns 21.
Okay.
Dustin Hopkins been missing kicks all year. I don't trust him.
That's fair. Did the Bengals called up Cade York, right? It wasn't the Browns. Yeah, Bengals called him. We'll get into before we go ahead and get on out of here. We're going to do the power rankings, and we got one more thing to talk about that'll bring us back to the Browns. But yes, for the power rankings this week, obviously last week we left off with the Lions at number 1, the Bills at number 2, Eagles, and then Chiefs, followed by the Steelers, Ravens, Chargers, Broncos, Vikings, and Packers. So what are we doing with the Bills? Are we just moving the Eagles up to 2 and the Chiefs to 3? Are we having the Chiefs jump the Eagles since the Eagles decided to have a close game versus the Panthers, which I was told earlier this year is a death knell for your franchise, according to how people talked about the Panthers earlier in the year. How do you guys? What are we doing with the Chiefs and Bills and Eagles?
I would say it's probably, to me, Lions, Eagles, Bills, and Chiefs. Wait, let me move this up.
Bills or Eagles, who's better right now?
Do I punish the Bills for going on the road and losing that game?
It was a dogfight. Went all the way to the end.
Yeah. I just think that's a bad matchup for them, to be honest.
I'll probably go Lions, Bills, Eagles. Yeah. Eagles passing game scares me. It's like, I just don't see how you're struggling to throw the football when you have A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith on the field. That makes no sense to me. Yeah. I'm not trying to say, like, you don't go through your struggles and your peaks and valleys, but it's week 15. And Jalen's having 100-yard games passing. Mm-hmm. I know they don't have Dallas Goedert out there, but you have 2,000-yard receivers who are both alphas, and they're open too. That's the crazy part. Now they're not getting open; they're open. He's just not throwing them the football. So that part is very concerning to me. The Bills have their flaws too, but I'll take the Bills and their offense over the Eagles right now. I'm not trusting the Eagles.
I got to at least drop the Bills down a spot though, because you can't lose in there.
The dogfight.
I'll say Lions, Eagles, Bills.
I'll go with the majority. We can go Eagles, Bills.
All right. Steelers stay at 5. Handle business versus the Browns. Ravens on a bye week at 6. Chargers lose to the Chiefs. Broncos also on a bye week. Vikings get the win. And the Packers lose a close game. Are we moving the Viking? I guess we could swap the Vikings and the Chargers. I think
just move them up, one back, one down.
I think that makes a lot of sense. And then I think anybody feel the inclination to move the Packers out of 10? To me, I'd leave them there.
No, I think they lost a tough game. Detroit.
Dog fight down to the last possession.
Right.
Can't blame them too much. Can't knock them down too much for
that. Gold star to the Vikings, Lions.
All right, Vikings.
Okay.
Yeah, offensive effort was really there. I mean, they were
either them or the Rams. Rams.
Or they beat
that's a big win at home for the Rams.
Beat the
and especially Josh Allen went Super Bowl mode and they still won the game. I get a Rams gold star. That's a big win.
You want to put them in over the Packers
for the star?
Well, no, just in general because they're outside.
Just in general.
Oh, put them in there. They definitely deserve some flowers though for the way they played against.
I'll move them up, but yeah, I don't know if
I will also say Seattle going on the road to Arizona and being able to win that game pretty handily too.
Division.
I'm probably not too inclined right now to put them over the Packers, either one of those teams right now. So, shout out to the tip of the cap from Chiefs King.
We appreciate y'all in LA. Thank you.
We appreciate y'all for winning that game, but I think this is what we're going to roll with. Lions at 1, Eagles at 2, Bills 3, Chiefs 4, Steelers 5, Ravens 6. Vikings get the gold star for their performance over the Vikings, over the Falcons, making the Falcons secondary look long. Broncos 8, Chargers 9, and Packers 10. So yeah, real quick, just wanted to talk about kind of the just a little bit about the AFC playoff picture right now, just because I think it's interesting to talk about it, and especially for scenarios as far as the Chiefs are concerned. Chiefs' magic number for the 1 seed now is at 3. That's any combination of their wins and Steelers losses at this point. So there is a scenario. Steelers are going on the road to Philadelphia. It seems like they're going to be without George Pickens this week. Bills are going on the road to Detroit. Those are obviously 2 very tough matchups for both of those teams. They lose both of those games. Chiefs handle business versus the Browns and Texans. They have secured the 1 seed and the bye week through the wild card round before even playing the Steelers on Christmas Day. So that is a very real possibility as well. Real quick, just so we can kind of talk about it. Say that happens. How do you guys handle from then to the rest of the regular season through to the playoffs as far as playing guys, resting guys throughout the Steelers and Broncos game? Obviously, Steelers game would be off of 4 days rest after the Texans game on that Saturday going into Christmas. And then you would have an extra 10 days off before that Broncos game in week 18. And then you would have the bye week of the wild card round, therefore, before you play the divisional round. How would you guys kind of have an inclination to handle that scenario?
I think you got to approach this last little final stretch as like the last push before the playoffs. I think it's imperative for you to try to win all 3 of these games to some extent. I know that you can have things wrapped up before the Steelers game, but I still would think that you would play your starters at that point. Just having – I know if you have things wrapped up and people were saying like, well, they can take Christmas off and then they can also sit against the Broncos. Like, that's a long time to sit.
You can't sit for football that long, bro.
Yeah, you can't sit that long and expect to be successful.
Rusty, bro.
Yeah, in the playoffs. So if it's me and I'm Andy Reid and how I'm approaching it is, this is we need to go win all 3 of these games. No, it's gonna be tough. I know it's not gonna be a lot of rest, but after Christmas, if we win all 3, it'll be all worth it for us to get off our feet a little bit, and then you can kind of treat that Broncos game kind of the same way you treated the Chargers game last year, kind of like a preseason or whatever. Get some guys who haven't had some touches into the game or whatever, get them mentally prepared. That could be a good game for Steven Nelson to kind of come back from his ramp-up period and get some work in out there and get his wind underneath him. But yeah, I wouldn't treat it as if you beat the Browns and the Texans and then you take all that time off. I'd try to win all 3 of these and play it all the way through. And then that Broncos game, you can have time to rest.
Same. Broncos game, the only game I see us sitting starters. They're gonna play on Christmas. even more so because it's a prime
I
time
don't.
game. They're
I
gonna.
don't even think the league wants. Like, there's
That's
no
what I'm
way
saying.
the league
They
is
don't want
allowing that to happen.
They didn't put in all this effort. They got it on
You're
Netflix. They
putting
didn't spend all this
15
money.
on the field.
Can
They
I
is
can
not
I
about to
make
send
it?
those starters
I
on
will make
Netflix, man. They can't do
I
that.
will make the argument to the contrary. To me, I think that if you're able to secure it for the Steelers, I would not want to play on the short rest of the 4 games. And I know that it's Netflix. I know that it's the NFL.
Oh, I would want them to.
I know that they would be pissed about it, but it's a big middle finger to you guys for giving us a week 6 bye week and then have us playing 3 games in 10 days and not giving us a later bye week than that. That's inexcusable. You shouldn't have us do it. You have to fix that for next year as far as the schedule is concerned. Personally, for me, I would do what's best for the team. If you wrap this up before the Steelers, I have no reason to play against the Steelers. You can play certain guys, whether it's DJ Humphries, you want to continue to get ramped up. I would put him out there at least for a half. Hollywood Brown, at least get him just his feet wet with some snaps as well. I'd have no problem with that from that standpoint. If you want to run Isaiah Pacheco a little bit, no issues there. Don't expose him too much, but still, for the guys that you're coming back for and try and get them ramped up, Steven Nelson, if he's ready to go on Christmas
Revenge
Day,
game, Steve
throw
Nelson.
him out there and have him play for sure, just to get those specific guys ramped up. But I would sit them, the really important
like half
guys
game.
as far
I'm
as
with that. Like not DG said full game. I'm with half game, like first half play and then sit. I'm cool with that.
So, but the second part of the plan for me is sit them versus the Steelers game. The important guys for the entire game. Use the guys that you want to ramp up because they need snaps. Perfectly fine from that standpoint, but especially because it's 4 days rest. I just don't want to expose these guys to it. But 10 days off before the Broncos game, that's where you play a full allotment of guys for a half. Because again, that splits the difference between we're taking off from the Texans game and then also into the bye week, going into the divisional round from that standpoint. So therefore, you don't have like a full month off. You just have kind of a ramp up period here. So I'd sit the guys versus Steelers. I'd play a half versus the Broncos just so that you can keep them sharp and in the mode of actually hitting people. Have that bye week and the wild card round, and then obviously get ready for the divisional round. That's my personal plan. I know it would suck for the NFL and Netflix and et cetera, to have one of those, but that's how I personally would look at it. We'll see if it ends up coming to fruition, how they end up handling it as well.
I think that makes sense. Play your starters for a series or two, treat it like a preseason, maybe a quarter and a half, sit them out second half. Same thing in the Denver game. It's just because, like DG said, you don't want to have that long of not playing live football. It's not good for anyone because anybody can get rushed at any moment. So a half of football versus Pittsburgh and another half versus Denver, I think will be good enough for rest and will suffice for a lot of guys. And then we get the bye week and then we can get guys rolling for that divisional round. So I think that makes sense. So it just depends. All know this all is concluded based on if
these things go out.
Yeah, we need
Bills and
Detroit
Steelers
to go out
lose
there and
next
beat
week.
Buffalo. So
yeah. So those
so
things
we're gonna be big Lions fans for the next week.
Big Lions and Eagles fans. Got to win those 2 weeks. And then if you're able to do that, then you have the chance to handle business as long as you win versus the Browns and Texans as well. And I don't know. Look, Andy Reid, he sat as his starters last year. They had a chance to move up to the 2 seed. They said, look, man, we got to focus on getting these guys healthy. They rested him for that Week 18 game, so we'll be interested to see how he ends up handling it as well from that standpoint. So that being said, there is only one thing left to do. Later rest. This is not not going to be another team. This is not going to be another team.
Wow.
Wowzers.
So Heavenly Father,
we come
before you today, thanking you, God, for the career of Kadarius Toney, Lord.
Oregon. Boom, 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 boom.
God sure has been good and shined his light down on Kadarius Toney, Lord. But Lord, we know
been a rough year for you, boy.
There comes a point in time where you have to tell yourself, let it go, big fella. Just let go and let God.
And you gotta let it go.
Because football ain't for you no more, big fella. Go be a rapper. Go be a trapper. Go be something else other than being on the football field right now. Sometimes it's best to just walk away. Turn the other cheek. That's what the Bible says. And you need to turn the other cheek. from the NFL.
It's time to be a father, son.
Because it ain't for you, big fella.
It's time to be a father.
Yeah. So dearly beloved, we come before you today. Thank you for Brother Kadarius Toney. Thank you.
We appreciate everything you did.
His punt return in the Super Bowl, Lord. Thank you for his corn dog play in the Super Bowl, Lord. But after that, he was cooked. After that, no more, Lord. So let him go on into the wind and be something else at this point. Because Lord,
It ain't football no more, son.
It ain't football. They gave you life, sir.
So for those that do not know,
Sayonara.
Kadarius Toney this past Sunday had a muff punt and then also got a taunting penalty on the other punt that he ended up fair catching. And that should be the end of Kadarius Toney's career in the NFL. I don't know why anybody else would continue to employ him. It's clear that he doesn't belong in the NFL.
I heard the UFL's hiring.
I'm sure they are.
You know,
I'm sure the CFL's hiring.
There, make a research. Yeah, man, KT's one of those guys that I feel like he just never was in love with football, dog. Like,
No.
I think he's good at it to a certain extent.
Well, I was about to say, I think he was good at it in college. I think he's
and I just think this is the game's it's beyond you, big fella. Like, it may be just time to go home and take care. I think he just had a daughter.
That's what I'm saying. Be a father. He just had his kid.
Yeah.
Be a family
Go
man.
home,
Be a family man.
be a family man. Maybe start a podcast. Maybe work on your rap career. You know, something other than doing this, because it ain't working. It ain't working. I'll cover him, Lord.
Absolutely.
Hopefully, he had James pray for him on the way out.
I'm sure he did say a nice prayer for him because football ain't for him.
Protect Brother Toney.
Lord, that is terrible. Just
awful. Disgusting.
Yeah, one job.
So yes, Kadarius Toney. Sorry to tell you.
We got good and bad news. Good news, we got your payment. Bad news, they gave you life.
They cut you.
Sayonara.
They cut you. They waved you. Your bag is already in the car.
Professional flag football is great. He actually would be pretty good at that.
Boy, you couldn't tell.
Hey, Olympics in 2026. Go get ready for that. Absolutely. That's what
Olympics. That could be
2028. I don't know why I said
707.
When your coach say, "Hey, bring your iPad with you," that lets you know, "Hey, you're done, son."
Yeah,
hey, bring your iPad when you come to the meeting room today.
They gave you life.
They gave you life.
Know when they bring you in the room and say, you know, these decisions, man, are never easy for us. We think the world of you.
We love you.
You know,
you done a hell of a job for us.
We appreciate everything
We're going in different directions. You know what I'm saying?
You know, unfortunately, this business isn't easy. You know, it's not easy. And tough decisions have to be made at the end of the day. But you know, we just gotta let you go. We just gotta walk away from it.
Leave your iPad with John. We got your stuff in your bag already. You'll be ready to go.
It's not even you. It's you know, it just wasn't a fit.
We're just going in different directions right now.
Going in a different direction. We're pretty sure you'll land on your feet somewhere. You're a great player, man. You're a great player. So, you know, wish you all nothing but the best. You know, and to everybody in your family, nothing but the best. But yeah, it's just not gonna work, man. So turn your iPad in, clean out your locker. You know.
Voice about John Dorsey. Is John Dorsey still working for the Browns?
I don't know if he is.
Is he in some capacity?
Is he
Probably.
moved on to somewhere else?
Look, what's the dude? Is it Andrew Berry who's the new GM?
Mm-hmm. Yep, up in Cleveland.
Yeah, you know Barry pulled him out to the side, bro.
He's like, hey, brother, come here.
Come holler.
Let me holler at you. Hey, come in my office. Bring your iPad too.
Listen.
Oh, they did fire him. Okay, well, I don't know. We'll ask the meat riding John Dorsey accounts and see where he's at this time of year. But yeah, Kadarius Toney is gone. Sorry, ladies and rest. Appreciate your punt return in Super Bowl 57.
Boy,
appreciate you, brother.
That's all we got for you, buddy. Sorry to tell you, gone. So yes, Chiefs Browns Sunday. Appreciate everybody for coming through for our talk as far as the Chiefs. Once again, AFC West champions for the 9th year in a row. Again, we'll be having Kingdom Cast on Thursday. Obviously, we'll be having next week, Tuesday, as far as Tell the Truth is concerned. But yeah, nothing else to say. DG, CJ, y'all got anything before we go ahead and get on out of here?
Let's get a dub, man. 1 week at a
Peace,
time.
love,
Baby.
and hair grease, Chief Kingdom.
1 week at a time, you dig? We almost close to that January season. You know what happened when it get cold outside? You gotta turn it up a notch. You know, I try to do so. The big Yetis start coming outside. You feel me? So
let's go.
Oh, I do got one thing to the Bama fans.
You thought she was getting in? Psych.
Brand didn't work this time, huh?
And they did y'all a favor. Y'all should
Nick Saban wasn't there to say you this time.
You shouldn't want to get
Enjoy
in.
the couch.
Did you see Jalen Miro this year? You shouldn't want to be in. You should be thanking them. They actually did you a favor. Jalen Miro was awful this year. I wouldn't even want to be in the playoffs if I was a Bama fan.
Boy.
Oh, God.
Glad they won. Great job by the college football committee. I know a lot of people were upset about the SMU thing, and they hadn't played nobody, and whatever. At the end of the day, Bama didn't deserve to get in over them. So
boy, America was happy when Bama did.
It is what it is.
I am happy. I'm happy that and also I will say tip of the cap to you, DG. I know we talked a lot of smack back and forth about Texas coming to SEC. You guys came in, won the championship year one. Got to give you credit for being able to get the job done, man. Yeah, tip your cap as far as that is concerned. What was I going to say? Yeah, no, I'm glad that they made the decision that they did. SMU played in their conference, was able to get to their conference championship game. I know they didn't win it, but there's got to be an emphasis on keeping the conferences and the competition within the conference. People are going to say, it may hurt the non-conference schedule. It is what it is. In my opinion, keeping the emphasis on the conference is the most important thing. And you're going to get some interesting non-conference games in the first round of the playoffs like we're going to see now, just coming up in a few weeks. So I'm not mad at it. I'm happy with the decision they made. Shout out to SMU. They got a lot of flack for going to the ACC. A lot of people didn't think that they'd be successful. I'm looking at you, Florida State University. You're falling off, and you sued them for adding SMU. And
boy, they gave you life. Y'all suck.
and they made the ACC championship game. And now they're in the college football playoff that y'all should have been if y'all handle y'all business too. So, yeah, tip the cap to SMU, and good decision by the committee, in my personal opinion. So before we go ahead and get out of here, I do want to, this happened on Sunday. Big old MIZ, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. I'm not even a Mizzou fan, but shout out to the kids from the town.
Shout out to the KC boys.
The KC boys on the squad, taking down those dirty birds from Lawrence, Kansas. It's been a long time coming from Mizzou.
Boy, it's been a decade. They needed that, boy.
I was sitting there. I was like, they're going to rush the court, ain't they?
Oh, they got to.
Do it.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hey, I'll pay the fine. I'll pay the fine.
It's been a long time coming. They deserved every moment of that, bro. It's been a long time.
Big old MIZ, baby.
They needed that one, boy. Now, good dub. Good dub for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, good dub.
Shout out Tamar. Shout out Mark. Shout out Juan. Shout out Aiden, all of them hoop, man. All the KC boys, they all put on, man. Shout out, they all hoop, man. Shout out to Mocan, the boy hoop.
Shout out the Hoopers from Mizzou, baby. So yes, with that, let's have another good Sunday coming up. But nothing else to say, man. Peace out. Go Chiefs.
Jeez.
Jeez.